There he is.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good morning and happy Tuesday, my friend. How are you?
Fantastic.
Very, very good. As we get started here, Rick, I hope you were in the background kind of listening to where the conversation was going. I just kind of finished talking about the importance of really, doubling down on AI and tools that help the business. You are one of the oldest tools that we need in the business. And you're, of course, one of the owners and managing director for A Buyer's Choice Home Inspections, a national company. And I have planned a bunch of questions to go over with you where we can have our entire Kobe community understand how to properly position the services of a home inspection professional. Because it's important to understand above and beyond somebody scanning a home, is there like a latent defect? How do you position these things for a win? How do you properly use the relationship that you develop with your home inspector? So that's what I want to go. So first and foremost,
Mm.
thank you for joining us. I'm happy and I'm honored to have you here. And yeah, just start telling me a little bit about where you're at with it, and we'll get right into the questions.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thanks so much for having us. Along with our regional owners who lead our Midwest region, we're pretty passionate of this industry, and I would almost see it as a quiet rebellion against an industry that has been around for quite a while. And I got to tell you, I got pretty ramped up watching and listening to what Bobby was just showing and the work you guys have been doing in Kobe. And a buyer's choice in Canada is bullish and absolutely leading in the industry when it comes to AI aggregation of data and information for clients. So as I heard what Bobby was talking about with the connectors and the connection, that's kind of how we see the inspection process and the inspection relationship and the report. It's not removing critical thinking. It's aggregating data and making it easier for the real estate professional, the buyers, and the sellers to be able to get guided education and information to make better decisions.
Yeah, and the home inspection is one of those unique tools that you can use on both sides of the fence.
Mm.
Meaning, if you're representing a buyer, you use a home inspection one way. If you're representing a seller, you use the home inspection a very different way. But in either case, the facts of a home inspection are going to be presented by the negotiating professional, which is us.
Mhm.
And we're fortunate to have, and again, the reason you're here is because you have a unique set of circumstances. Both yourself, as long as some of your partners started in the real estate industry, understand the real estate industry intimately. And I think that's a huge benefit as to who you choose to work with in the space. Tell me, in your own words, about the listing process and the benefits of having a pre-listing inspection and why you would do it and how you would use it.
Yeah, it's a great question. There's a legacy mindset in our industry, and I don't know, if it's just because we've been around for a long time and we've kind of seen the different waves. One thing that we know for sure is that people will always own properties and they're always going to need information on properties. And
Yeah.
there's this, right, they will always, like transactions will always be happening. The bullish companies, they see the wave, you ride the wave, you innovate when things are slow, you double down, and the magic happens right after every single time, like clockworks. It's recession and pandemic proof, these industries, but you got to innovate and change. So, when I reflect on the pre-inspection service, it's been around forever and ever, and it's gone through ebbs and flows, but it's never been more relevant. And I think that the shift that's happened, finally that's happened, is that, in the olden days, a property inspection was used as a negotiating tool. That was what it was. It was like, hey, let's get an inspection and beat up the seller and get the deal down. That is a legacy mindset, and it is not the way to use an inspection to actually make the deal happen, to make the buyer happy, the seller happy, the agent's proud of the deal they helped their clients put together. So, it's about, the people that win are the ones that get the information out front. The realtors that win in this whole situation are the ones that are able to manage the surprises, that are able to be ahead of it and actually help the client to understand that, no property is perfect. It's whether or not it's perfect for you. And, just like when I think when you're putting a deal together, as an agent, whether you're getting a new listing or helping a buyer to look at their next dream home or dream property, we've been doing this a little while, and some of the realtors that we work with tell us, they're thinking about all the where are the landmines, and I want to make sure this is as seamless
Yes,
as
sir.
a process. So why the hell would you wait until later in the process to figure out what's behind the drywall? Like, know about it up front and actually manage it.
Yeah, and I'll give an example of a listing going live today. I have a brand new listing that I've been working on for almost a year.
Mm.
It was supposed to be listed back in November of last year. Unfortunately, the family went through a health crisis with a father, for example, and it had to be delayed. But at that time, last winter, I sent in a very, very good friend of mine, a home inspector that I trust dearly, to do a pre-listing, a property. It was a little bit more commercial in scope because I'm a commercial broker. This was what's called a property condition report.
Mhm.
And a property condition report is what I used as a real estate professional, not only to prepare my client to sell, but to prepare their mindset about the valuation of their property. Because before you ever list and sell a property, you have to sell someone else on why and how their property will be sold. So by doing so, and again, this is as a real estate professional, you choose if this is something that you pay for to prove your value. If your client pays for because it is their risk, how you position these things is up to you. But the bottom line is, I did a property condition report which uncovered a ceiling and a roof system at the end of their lives, meaning the outer barrier, the actual roof, was at the end of life. Tar and gravel on Queen Street, classic two-story, residential on top, commercial on the bottom. But water had penetrated, mold was present, and the ceiling itself inside the home was also in absolute need of replacement, not repair. So now we have a choice. If I'm sitting in front of my client, the choice is this, Mr. and Mrs. Client. You want to achieve 1.6 million per side of your two properties. And this is a real listing that's going to be up within 24 hours. Go on the MLS and see it tomorrow, team. But at the end of the day, I had to explain. Not only are you not getting 1.6 million, you're not getting 1.6 million if it was a brand new roof and a brand new ceiling, due to market realities controlling it this way. This is the size of your lots, etc. But the property condition report not only helped me get the seller in a realistic place and ready to sell, they actually did the work. So now I have a building and a listing that's going to be priced at 1.5 per side, 1.45, excuse me, per side, with a brand new roof, with new ceiling, with certificates of work being completed with warranty. These are all things that are going to help me sell this place.
Mhm.
I also know that the mechanical systems are in the last 20% of their life. I know that the economic life of specific equipment is X, Y, and Z. A residential home inspection is the exact same thing. You're going to go in, your inspector is going to go in, Rick is going to come up with a report that tells you where it's at. So if the client had the delusion that they can get 1.2 million for their home, well, guess what? Homes that are in the same condition as yours are going for 950. You going to market at 1.2 is only going to lead to one thing: stress, anger, resentment, and no result. Because we cannot assume that every real estate professional is not going to do their due diligence. As a matter of fact, we need to assume that they will. So
Never,
we can
never
do all
before,
the
and
things.
sorry to interrupt, but never before have they had access to more information and more resources to find stuff. So like why would you not want to facilitate that process as a professional realtor? You facilitate the rest of the process. Like, remove that pit in your stomach before you have to manage the condition of the inspection, and just do it up front and coach your client. I could not agree more with what you're saying, Simeon. Like,
That's amazing. And I mean, this is my anecdotal story of a listing being taken right as we speak.
yeah.
I can give hundreds of these examples of how inspections were used and in some cases abused, for that matter, to the wrong way. And this is why I think today's session is so important. And I ask anybody on the call right now, feel free to pipe in with if you have stories to share as to best practices on getting a home inspection and using it to the advantage of the client and or the deal and or all parties involved. Transparency comes a long way. And it helps negotiate the price of a listing down properly. And of course, on the buying side, it is absolutely used to justify price. That's the whole premise of the exercise. A comparable market analysis is absolutely founded upon the principles of what is somebody willing to pay for the condition and or home given in the marketplace. And if 15 days ago somebody paid $1 million for a house that needs a complete renovation, well, your inspected, beautifully renovated home is worth, let's call it $300,000 more. You can make a case for it, and vice versa. If the house that you're selling is a decrepit old home in need of a gut, well, let's take whatever value the new one sold for and adjust, of course, accordingly, as per the inspection results, as per the building standard in any given neighborhood. This is the power of all this. Um, Rick, can you tell me a little bit about you're in a competitive situation, you're in a multiple offer scenario because it's happening again as we speak.
Mhm.
Certain markets are attracting multiple offers. Tell me a little bit about how your services can help differentiate and set you and your client apart.
Yeah, that's a great question. If you don't mind, I'll circle back and tie it together. You'd asked me a little bit ago about, pre-inspection and why. One comment I do want to make on that, just to close the loop on it. We support a team of 160 inspectors in Canada. A buyer's choice is involved in 30,000 transactions a year now in Canada and growing. And about half of the realtors that utilize pre-inspections as a listing tool are paying for them. They're including it as a part of the offering that they just include to get ahead of it and be a part of it. So the piece I wanted to close the loop on with that is, a buyer's choice is a little bit different. So at the beginning of this call, I talked a bit about the quiet rebellion. We're going to be a little bit careful with it, but we do it a little different. We really do. We are founded by a realtor. We get it. And so how we present things is to serve the client, the buyer and seller, but it's also about the seamless transaction for the realtor. So the pre-inspection, how it works with a buyer's choice is, we do that for the listing, pre-listing. We provide the report, a full disclosure, understanding, education, coaching, and support for the listing agent and the client. And then we, in addition to marketing materials and such, we actually encourage the listing agent to provide the report. It's digital, it's 60 pages. If you want to print it as a PDF, put it on the island and full disclosure to the buyers. Show them that you've had this done, and we'll even be a resource. We'll be there at the open houses and co-host an open house and hang out in the utility room to answer any questions. And then when a buyer comes along and wants to buy that property or put an offer for a reduced rate, our inspector will come back. They will re-inspect the property, transfer liability, errors and omissions to the buyer. So it's a full transfer over, reissuance of the report, update the disclosures, update the actual report, and then free technical advice for that buyer should they be successful in the property. So
And I think
it's a
that's
it's a
the
full process, man.
And I think, well, that's the evolution of service in your industry.
Mm,
Just like we have to adjust our offerings, you've created a value proposition that sets you apart. And God bless. And I mean, that's
mm.
hard to find. If you can show me home inspectors who can offer that type of service where you're going to attend my open house, where you're going to support and transfer the benefits of the home inspection over to the new party, that's value prop. That is a choice that any one professional makes to introduce the services of another colleague that helps get the deal done. I want to talk about something else that you guys are the first to do. And this is, again, there's a reason I wanted to work with a buyer's choice and bring you on board, is the text to photo service. I think that is absolutely crucial. I'm on a showing. I'm on a showing right now. I'm on a showing. Client looks at me and says, we're in the basement and says, what is that salt stuff? He goes, I've seen it white before, but why is this one green?
Yeah.
And why is it black towards the bottom? I personally might have some experience with it. At the same time, I should just shut my mouth because I'm not an inspector. However, if you're new in the business, you've never seen this before. What about if you see this hole in the ground that has a cover on it and you can see water in it? Do you know that one of my agents called me? They're like, I think there's a hole in the house with water in it. I'm like, no, that's a sump pump, bro. Like it's not a normal mechanical system. Nobody, if this agent had not seen it before, and the agent is not dumb or less than, if you've never seen it before and you're in a basement, you hear water running like a river underneath the house, you think something's up. No, that is a sump pump system. But this agent, like me, like anyone else, you are in a house. The client asks a question. Instead of saying no, I'll get back to you. What does that do when you say no, I'll get back to you? Let's be realistic. What does that do, Rick?
Complete uncertainty,
It
complete
gives them the
uncertainty,
entire rest of the
spiraling.
show.
Yeah, you get your butt online, you're Googling, it's the worst case, like WebMD, right? Like, oh my God, what is this pit of water in the basement? Disaster. That's what
As
comes from
opposed to opening and closing that loop in seconds. You know what? Let me just get
that.
my inspector 1 second. 1 second. Click, take a picture, send it. Within minutes, I get a response back. This is a sump pump system, my man. There is no river underneath the house. This is a working, functioning sump pump system. Oh, this is evanescence. This is the result of water coming into the home, drying, coming in, drying, coming in, drying, leaving these stains on the wall. Could there be a problem? Well, I mean, it's more than likely that there is some kind of an issue. This is something that will come through in the inspection. And or if we were to look at the inspection that's upstairs, it's probably covered in there.
Yeah, yeah. I call this the and, this isn't official, it's being a little cheeky here, but this is the stay in your damn lane policy, and it goes two ways. It's for us as well, like we know when we're doing an inspection, we know where our lane is, we know where our lane ends, we know when refer to the professional realtor. So, tying it back to what you'd mentioned there with free technical advice, text a photo, etc. There again, this is that legacy mindset of the inspection industry is that there are some, believe it or not, in this industry, and I don't know if this comes from a lack of licensing. Like what many people aren't aware, there's no government licensing for home inspectors in Canada. There's no national licensing. It's interprovincial, and only Alberta and BC even have a license. We train every inspector double the highest standard, which is Alberta. Everyone, regardless, I don't care if you've been a contractor for 30 years, everyone gets 650 hours of training, technical field operations, business ethics, marketing training, across the board, set the bar. So how this technical advice piece works is if a realtor or a client is on site and they see something weird, just text a photo to a buyer's choice inspector, be like, hey, I'm at a listing. What is this? Do I need to be worried? Give me some info and we're there
Yeah.
for you. And it goes back to that legacy, Simeon, it goes back to that legacy mindset. There's people in the industry that believe a home inspector can only do home inspections. That's done when it comes to a buyer's choice. Our industry has to evolve, it has to innovate, and it's about providing more education and guided education
And
through as a home
support.
advisor. It's time to shake it up, guys. We got to do it different, you know?
Yeah, but no, the agent needs the support on the ground. Again, we're at the age that people will take a picture and send it to ChatGPT, only to get a hallucination and or potentially something that could kill your deal, as opposed to going to a trusted professional, where they're gonna put the problem into perspective the best they can,
Yeah.
and of course frame it in a way that is factual. If the
Yeah.
problem is so bad, the deal should die. If the problem is something that can be easily addressed, it should say so. But don't put your deal in the hands of ChatGPT. Don't put your hands in the deal of Google. Put your deal in the hands of a professional, somebody who's seen it before, who's trained on it, who actually has the answer on how to address these issues. Um, I want to talk about one last thing. I want to talk about how this all plays into brand. How do you help, you specifically, Rick? How do you help professionals build their brand with their clients?
We're I love that question. Thanks for asking that. And every buyer's choice inspector, we are an entrepreneur organization, no different than real estate professional, same idea. Every buyer's choice inspector, no one's an employee, everybody's an owner themselves. So, the focus is we're a colleague, we're a partner of the real estate professional, and we serve the client. We're a tool in the toolkit. So, and here's a couple examples. In addition to all the stuff we've already talked about today, and that was more focused on inspection services. I want to give you an example of if somebody was at the end of this call to say, what do I do now to like get more out of my local buyer's choice inspector? Where do I go? How can I execute? How can I
Sure.
activate the Kobi network and like make something of this? Reach out to your local buyer's choice inspector and say like, how can you help me do more deals faster for more money? Because that is what we want to help you with. And here's an example. Later this month, we're working with a national real estate coach and trainer, Natalie Davison, on a program called Best Year Ever. And it's for real estate professionals who, maybe felt like the first half of the year was a little sluggish and they're ready to light it up for the last 5 months. We paid for that. We paid for that for any of our local brokerages and local agents that want to enroll in this 90-minute training to hype up their business for the last half of the year. So, when we approach the industry, it's not just about serving clients, protecting them, educating. It's also how can we help the real estate professional, the home services,
100%.
the entire damn
100%.
transaction, make it better, right? Like, let's make it better.
And let's make it better together. So I absolutely love that you're driving community and creating wins for people. For anybody interested, reach out to Rick and we'll get those details from you as well, Rick, to get them out to the community. I also want to remind everyone August 29th is coming up. That is our next event live in person. It is going to be held at the House of Vanguard, Toronto West. That's at Long Branch and Lakeshore. It is going to be some delicious locally brewed beer with some of the best pizza you've ever had. We have a Michelin star chef that's going to be preparing the pizzas. I'm looking forward. It's my favorite pizza on the planet, so I'm going to be there participating in the eating of the pizzas, not the making of the pizzas. And of course, I invite you all to do the same. The topic discussed that day is going to be tax. As all of us know, we all have to do our corporation taxes at the end of June. This is going to talk about what you can change in the next year to save 20, 30, 40 grand and add that to your bottom line for next year. I have a tremendous speaker, a very consummate professional in the tax and insurance space, and he blends insurance, wealth building with taxation to save money. So super, super interesting. I learned a ton from him, and he's going to be there live on the 29th. I'm actually doing that session with him on stage. All of you are welcome. Rick, of course, you're welcome as always. Rick, thank you for joining us today and dropping this value. Remember, Rick's knowledge, a buyer's choice knowledge, it is instilled in Kobi. If you were to ask Kobi a question, just know that Rick's intellectual property, as well that of a buyer's choice, is instilled in Kobi. You can ask a variety of many of the most asked questions. You're going to get an absolute a buyer's choice reply from Kobi himself. Now, for anybody who needs to reach out with personal questions or looking to develop a relationship with a professional, by all means, inside your Kobi community, go to the referral network, go to the partner network, and connect as you see fit. Rick, thank you again for joining me.
It's been a pleasure, and there's been a lot of fun. I feel like we should do it again. I feel like I'm ready to drill into some of these with you guys. I just want to say in closing, we love what you guys are doing at Kobi. We love tech. We love where the industry's going. We're here for you guys and your network. And those of you that have hitched your wagon to Kobi, you are on the right damn wagon, and we're on the ride with you guys. So keep up the great work, man. This is super exciting.
Thank you very, very much for your kind words. We all feel the same way. And we are going to be speaking again. We're going to be speaking again forever, meaning that the people who come in here, and again, to the people watching, if you know of an excellent X, Y, or Z, bring them into our community. It is our duty to improve ourselves, to help each other, and of course, grow together. Until next time, everybody have a productive week. Thank you so much.